presenting Speak English, a course in spoken English by Samson Thomas. Book 10, page 1. A. Listen to the conversation. Vikram and Vignesh are talking about a student in their school who has won the National Junior Chess Championship.
Have you heard the good news? Vishal, Bharat's cousin, has won the National Junior Chess Championship.
Is that so? Good for him. But I don't think I have met him.
Of course you have. We met him at Bharat's birthday party last month.
Let me think. I think I know who Vishal is. He is tall, thin, and wears glasses, right?
Good guess, but no. He is tall, all right, but he is well built, and he doesn't wear glasses.
I see. Was he in a blue t-shirt with yellow stripes?
No, that was Mukul, Bharat's cousin. What was Vishal wearing? Let me see. I think he was wearing a white shirt and blue jeans.
That's not very helpful, is it? Almost everyone wears them at parties these days. Does he have long hair?
No, in fact his hair is closely cropped. Oh yes, he has a mole on his chin and a long nose.
Oh yes, I think I know who you're talking about. He must be a very happy boy. I can never play chess. In fact, I don't have the patience for any board games. I think they're for old people.
I wouldn't say that. Chess teaches you the importance of planning in life. Board games like Scrabble can help you learn new words and the spelling of words you already know. Cricket is not the only exciting game, Vignesh.
I know. They say board games help you concentrate better. I think I'll start playing Scrabble. Where can I buy a good Scrabble board?
There are a couple of shops in General Bazaar that sell these. They have a good selection of board games. They give you a good discount too.
Are you referring to the shops at the corner of General Bazaar and GP Road?
No, these shops are located next to the ready-made garment shops. They are opposite the post office.
Now I remember. One of them has a blue canopy, right?
Exactly. Let me know when you're planning to go. I'll go with you and we can get the best bargain.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Vikram.
Anytime.
Page 2. A. How to accept or correct someone's statement or opinion. Listen and repeat these sentences and expressions.
Accepting statements. Formal.
1. That's correct. 2. That's right. 3. That's the one.
Did you see this man attack your neighbor?
That's correct.
Money lives with his grandparents, doesn't he, George?
That's right, sir. He does.
Informal.
1. Yes. 2. Exactly. 3. Right.
Correcting statements. Formal.
1. Not exactly. 2. Not really. 3. I'm afraid you've got it wrong. 4. I'm afraid that's not right.
Your team didn't perform too well in the last match too.
Not really, Dad. We came third in the overall ranking.
Informal.
1. No, that's not the one. 2. You're wrong. 3. No, he doesn't wear a beard.
I don't think you like Varun.
You're wrong. I'm very fond of him.
Page 3. C. Listen to see if you were right.
1. Rahul is the fastest student in your class, isn't he?
Not really, uncle. It is Sheetal, who always gets the first place.
2. I asked you to submit your assignment on the 12th, didn't I?
Not exactly, sir. You said we should submit it before the 15th.
3. The shop next to Apna Mall is the one you recommended, right?
No, that's not the one. This shop is opposite the mall.
4. Pragyan's father has a thick moustache, doesn't he?
No, he doesn't have a moustache. That's Pragyan's uncle.
Page 5. B. Listen to the poem and practice saying it aloud.
Why the Caged Bird Sings by Maya Angelou. The free bird leaps on the back of the wind and floats downstream till the current ends, and dips his wings in the orange sun rays and dares to claim the sky. But a bird that stalks down his narrow cage can seldom see through his bars of rage. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with a fearful trill of the things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. The free bird thinks of another breeze, and the trade winds soft through the sighing trees, and the fat worms waiting on a dawn-bright lawn, and he names the sky his own. But a caged bird stands on the grave of dreams. His shadow shouts on a nightmare scream. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom.
Page 6. A. Listen to an interesting anecdote. Look at the pictures while you listen.
Train on fire. Last month, I was travelling by train to Kolkata. It was a hot afternoon, and the passengers were dozing off. I was reading an adventure story where a brave young boy rescues his parents from a raging fire. Suddenly, there was a commotion at the other end of the coach. I rushed to see what was wrong. A section of the coach near the door was on fire. The kerosene stove one of the hawkers had been carrying had slipped out of his hand, spilling the kerosene on the floor. A burning cigarette butt someone had carelessly tossed on the floor had started the fire. The passengers were in a state of panic. I asked a passenger who was close to the chain that controls the emergency brake to pull the chain. The man frantically tugged the chain attached to the collapsible bed, much to the amusement of everyone around him. He didn't know where the emergency brake was. Another passenger yanked the chain, but the train did not stop. A few panic-stricken passengers jumped out of the speeding train. Luckily, no one was seriously hurt, except the poor man who pulled at the chain so vigorously that he sprained his hand. Eventually, the train was stopped and the fire was put out. I will never forget this incident in my life.
Page 8. A. Listen and repeat these utterances.
My book. My history book. My illustrated history book. My illustrated Indian history book. The glass on the table. The boy wearing a red t-shirt. The house that my grandfather built. The town where I was born. The man with a golden gun.
C. Listen to see if you were right.
1. This is the shirt I wore yesterday. 2. The girl wearing a blue dress is my cousin. 3. The bird with yellow feathers is an oriole. 4. The town where I was born is called Palumkur. 5. The boy running towards us is Prashant.
Page 9. Listen to the message and fill in the "while you were out" note.
Good morning. I'm Avinash Gupta of Global Trainers Limited. I'm here to meet Mr. Nikhil Chopra, your personnel manager.
Good morning. I'm Rekha, assistant manager. Do you have an appointment?
I don't. I happen to be in the area. I thought I'd just drop in to see if he's in.
Please have a seat. Give me a moment. I'll check if he's in. I'm afraid he isn't in his office.
Any idea when he'll be back?
He was planning to visit one of our clients. If he has managed the appointment, he might get back only around noon.
I see. I'm afraid I can't wait that long.
If this is any urgent business, I can call him on his mobile phone.
Don't bother. I just want to discuss a proposal with him.
Is there a message for him?
Just tell him I'll meet him tomorrow morning.
I'll leave a message on his desk right away.
Thanks. See you.
You're welcome. Have a nice day.
Page 10. A. Listen to the conversation. Shekhar and Shrikha are talking about another student.
Where's Rani? She said she'd come with you.
I don't know for sure, but I think she's not keeping well. And her father has told her to stay home and take adequate rest until she recovers completely.
Oh, that's sad. She was perfectly fine yesterday.
Exactly. I don't know what happened to her suddenly.
She must be very ill. I'm sure she'll recover very soon and then she will be able to join us at parties.
I hope so. Without her, the parties aren't much fun.
Yes, she adds sparkle to the dullest party.
True. Last year, we had a farewell party for our seniors. The party organizers were not very imaginative, to put it mildly. There were several long speeches, and there were a few songs. We were getting restless. We desperately wanted to get out of the place. Actually, some students found some excuse and left early. When the 11th speaker was invited to speak, Rani decided enough is enough. She got onto the stage, grabbed the mic and said in her booming voice, "Friends, before our beloved senior delivers his interesting speech, we'll play a game for a few minutes." Instantly, there was a change in the atmosphere. People started enjoying the party, and there were no more speeches that night.
Trust Rani to do that. She's a leader, all right.
Isn't she? We gave her a standing ovation when she walked into the class the next day.
She truly deserved it. Give her my best wishes.
I will. Sumant, who spoke to her, said she sounded quite low on the phone. She will be all right in a day or two.
Let's hope so.
Page 11. A. How to express attitudes and emotions. Listen and repeat these sentences.
Expressing attitudes.
1. Unfortunately, the food you sent us had gone stale. 2. Luckily, he'd recovered from his illness before the examination. 3. Mercifully, the boring film we watched yesterday was quite short. 4. Honestly, I don't think our team deserved to win. 5. Seriously, I think you should learn yoga. 6. Hopefully we'll reach the town before it gets dark.
12. A. Listen and repeat these sentences.
1. That must be Saif's younger brother. He looks a lot like Saif. 2. It's 12:15. The bus should come by now. 3. The wedding has to be after the 22nd of this month. The bride is arriving in India only on the 22nd. 4. The temple is just another 20 kilometers away. We will reach there before noon. 5. This can't be Susan's car. She once told me she drove a blue sedan. 6. Exercise for an hour daily. Your body will be more flexible.
C. Listen to see if you were right.
1. He must be working late. He only goes out at the weekend. 2. We've almost reached the top of the hill. We should see the town any moment. 3. His leg has to hurt. Look how badly it has swollen. 4. This can't be Suraj's brother. His brother is in the US. 5. Eat more leafy vegetables. You will be healthier.
Page 13. Page 13. Mani is a general manager of a company. He is interviewing a candidate who has applied for a sales executive's position. He is trying to find out if the candidate is interested in the job he has applied for. He also wants to know if the candidate is ambitious and if he is a team player. A. Listen to the interview and write down the questions he asks the candidate.
What are the responsibilities of a sales executive?
A sales executive sells a company's products or services. He or she helps the company make good profit and become a leading company in the market.
Why do you think you will do well at this job?
Selling a product or service is a challenging task. I like challenges. I also like to meet and interact with people, and a sales job will give me many opportunities to do that.
What do you know about our company?
You're a leading manufacturer of surgical equipment. You have 30% of the market share. You're well known for your ethical practices.
I see. Are you a team player?
I am. I enjoy working with people. When I was at college, I was part of a group that organized several fundraising events for my college.
What kind of person would you refuse to work with?
Someone who violates the rules or tries to do harm to the company's good image.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I hope to be working as a sales manager.
Page 14. C. Listen to these pairs of sentences and tick the right box.
1. This job suits my easy-paced life, so I prefer this job. I enjoy traveling and meeting people, and so this is my dream job.
2. I have heard that your organization provides the best work atmosphere. I'd like to work here because your office is close to where I live.
3. I hate to work with people who are domineering. I'm not comfortable with colleagues who don't take their job seriously.
4. In 5 years from now? Well, I hope to hold on to this job. I aim to become a manager in a reputed organization like yours.
Page 15. A. Listen to the discussion. The principal of a school is talking to his colleagues about the school's plans for the new academic year.
Good morning, colleagues. This meeting has just one item on the agenda. What steps should we take to change the way our students see the school and their teachers. This is an informal meeting, so you can freely express your views anytime during the meeting. We have an hour to discuss the issue. Our Vice Principal will note down your suggestions. So, without further delay, let's begin the meeting. Who'd like to begin? Yes, Miss Shaw.
I strongly believe in teachers meeting our students informally outside school hours. That would help build very good rapport with the students.
A very interesting idea. Yes, Mr. Singh.
I'm not sure it's such a good idea. The students are likely to think because their teacher is friendly, they could take liberties with them.
I see. Miss Ravindran wants to make a point. Let's listen to her.
I think Miss Shaw's suggestion is worth a try. I feel today's students know where to draw the line. I don't think they'll confuse professional relations with personal ones.
Good point. What do the others feel about this idea?
It's a very good suggestion.
Kiran wants to say something. Yes, Kiran.
I think we should ask Miss Shaw and Miss Ravindran to work out a plan and present it to you for your approval.
What a wonderful idea. Please record this. I'd request Miss Shaw and Miss Ravindran to send me a proposal by next Wednesday. Could you do that for me, ladies?
Certainly.
Certainly.
Excellent. Let's move on. Any other suggestions?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Mr. Singh.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I think we're making a big mistake. We need to examine this suggestion very carefully.
No need to apologize, Mr. Singh. Tell us why you feel this is a mistake.
Like I said earlier, some students would expect the teacher to give them good grades because they're good hosts. These students would be terribly disappointed if the teacher gave them what they deserved. Visiting students and meeting them in a social setting would only worsen the image of the school and the teachers.
I think Mr. Singh has a point. How do you respond to his argument, Miss Shaw?
Even if some students do get confused, I'm sure they'd eventually appreciate the teacher's responsibilities. I think Mr. Singh is being overcautious.
Well, I leave it to the group to decide, but don't tell me I didn't warn you.
We haven't made any decision, Mr. Singh. But I'm sure you've no objections to drafting the proposal for our consideration?
I guess that's okay. But I'd appeal to you to keep my reservations in mind when you study the proposal.
Certainly.
Page 16. C. Listen to these pairs of sentences and tick the right box.
1. Yes. Do you want to say something? Yes. Do you want to say something? 2. You can interrupt me anytime you like. You can interrupt me anytime you like. 3. You wouldn't say that, would you? You wouldn't say that, would you? 4. Are you sure? I thought it was more challenging to the student. Are you sure? I thought it was more challenging to the student.
Page 17. A. Deciding on a course of action and communicating a decision. Listen and repeat these sentences.
Summarizing decisions.
1. We have agreed to hold our Alumni Day on Saturday, 23rd April. 2. We have decided to organize the event at Hotel Park International. 3. The group has made the decision to work in 4 groups. 4. Raina and his team are going to book the convention center at the hotel for us.
Communicating decisions.
1. The school has agreed to declare 23rd April a holiday. 2. Ms. Sheetal, who is from the 1970 batch, has agreed to be the chief guest. Three. The school has decided to ask its class 12 students to organize a quiz program.
B. Listen to these sentences. Tick whether it is summarizing a decision or communicating a decision.
1. The management has agreed to build a creche for the employees' children. 2. The decision is to forward the student's request to the local authorities. 3. Do we all accept that Diwakar will be our new secretary? 4. We've agreed to meet again on 3rd May. 5. We have decided to donate an LCD projector to our school.
Page 18. A. Listen and complete this passage about one of the lesser-known scientists, Nikola Tesla.
Nikola Tesla was one of the greatest scientific minds in history and one of the most imaginative inventors. Many of his ideas were so far ahead of their time that they remained misunderstood and unstudied. He invented the radio, but the Italian inventor Guglielmo Marconi received credit for it. He discovered X-rays, but German physicist Wilhelm Röntgen is remembered as the discoverer. He devised a much better electrical system than did American inventor Thomas Edison, but Edison is much more famous. This American physicist is the greatest scientist few people have ever heard of. Nikola Tesla was born in Smiljan, Croatia, in 1856, and it was clear from the start that he had a brilliant mind. In high school, he was able to perform integral calculus in his head. His teachers thought he was cheating, but he apparently had a photographic memory. He would eventually learn to speak 6 languages fluently. Tesla's father was a priest and wanted his son to follow in his footsteps, but Tesla had a passion for physics, mathematics, and engineering. He attended the Polytechnic Institute at Graz, Austria, and immediately became fascinated by electricity. Scientists such as Maxwell had studied electricity and discovered electromagnetic fields throughout the universe. Inventors like Edison studied the practical side of electricity and invented light bulbs. Tesla liked both sides and understood electricity better than any man in the world. He had a tremendous new idea for Edison on how to conduct electricity more efficiently and more cheaply. He came to America with his new idea and started to work for Edison. It would be his crowning achievement. It would also be the beginning of his downfall.
Page 20. A. Listen and repeat these sentences.
1. Some of my friends speak Hindi. 2. None of these shirts is mine. 3. Have you watched any of these films? 4. I spent most of my summer holidays preparing for the Common Entrance Test. 5. Many of his cousins are studying in the US.
Page 21. A. The managing director of a company is talking to the finance manager of the company. Listen and fill in the missing information in the year-on-year comparison chart.
Are the figures for this year ready?
They are. We've just completed the annual financial report.
How are the profits?
Profits are up 18% from last year.
What are the sales figures?
Sales were Rs 64 crores 70 lakhs, up 27% from last year.
That's good news, isn't it? Our sales are improving steadily. Last year, we managed a 23% increase, didn't we?
That's right, 23.4% to be precise.
What about the advertising front? What have we got there?
Well, there was a significant increase in the advertising costs. We had to spend 25% more this year.
I see. Our expenditure on advertisements seems to be climbing steadily. How about taxes?
Well, it is a moderate increase, up 4% from last year.
And labour costs?
Rupees 1 crore 25 lakhs, up 3% from last year. And our interest payments are up by a mere 1% at rupees 2 crore 30 lakhs.
Excellent. What news about company assets?
It's up 24% from last year. The assets are worth rupees 55 crores.
Good to hear that. I'm sure our shareholders will appreciate our efforts.
Page 22. A. Listen to the play The Cost of Fame and look at the pictures.
What a waste of time. I wish I'd taken a train. One can't trust the airlines these days.
Are you Mr. Ravi Kumar, the TV artist?
That's right.
Hi, I'm Rachel Fernandez. I'm a big fan of yours. I never miss the television serial you're in. I simply adore your acting.
Thank you. I thought people didn't notice me. Mine is such a small part in the serial.
You're wrong about that. Several friends of mine too are your fans. At first, they too felt your role wasn't significant, but I convinced them that the role's a difficult one. You make it look simple because you're very talented.
Thank you for your kind words. I'm indeed grateful to you.
Oh no, it's your fans that are grateful to you. Without you, the serial will be a screaming bore.
Thanks once again.
I'm going to Goa. Where are you off to, if I may ask?
Well, I'm going to Delhi. I have been invited to participate in the annual theatre festival of the Delhi Theatre Group.
I see. Would you like to join me for a snack at the Diners Paradise outlet? It's close to Gate 5. We can have a quick snack and be ready when our flights are called.
Diners Paradise? That's a bit on the expensive side, isn't it?
I wouldn't say that. Moreover, the food there more than justifies the price.
I can't say no to a fan like you, can I? But please do let me pay the bill.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind of you.
Welcome to Diners Paradise, sir. Table for two.
That's right.
This way, please. Here's your table. I hope you're comfortable.
We are. Thank you.
I'll send someone to take your order right away.
Page 23. C. Now listen to the second part of the play.
What's on the menu? Let's see. The Diners Paradise is famous for its soups and starters. I think I'll have the exotic mushroom soup. It's light on the stomach and it costs just rupees 300. How about you?
I'm not really a soup person. I think I'll have just a cold drink.
Bad idea. Too many calories.
Ready to order, ma'am?
1 exotic mushroom soup and a cold drink for the gentleman.
Would you like to order one of our famous starters?
I'm afraid we have our flights to catch. Maybe some other time.
I think a starter is a good idea. What do you recommend?
We have a delicious sweet and sour Thai chicken. If you're a vegetarian, I'll recommend our wholesome grilled American blue cheese that melts in your mouth. We also have our mind-blowing crisp and yummy mutton extravaganza. If you prefer fish...
We'll have your Thai chicken. And get me a bowl of salad, please. Get me your Diners Paradise special salad bowl. I must have my salad with a starter, you know, Ravi. My dietitian says it isn't a good idea to start your meal with starters, especially the deep-fried kind.
Good advice.
Tell me about your future plans. Are you planning to act in films?
That's every actor's dream, isn't it? No one can resist the movies.
Not really. I don't think a good actor like you should waste your talent in films. You have very little freedom to do what you like in the film industry.
I agree. But I need more roles to make people notice my talent.
Leave that to your fans, like me. We'll make sure your talent is recognized. Oh, here comes my soup and your unhealthy cold drink. The soup smells divine.
Enjoy your soup.
I intend to. Thanks.
What do you do for a living, Rachel?
Well, I'm just a rich and spoiled brat. My parents worked hard to make sure I don't have to earn my livelihood. I just enjoy life, admire the world, and appreciate talent wherever I find it.
How wonderful.
Ah, here is the starter. It looks good.
Can I take your order for the main course, ma'am?
Oh, no, I can't do justice to the main course. I'm a poor eater, you see. I might like a little dessert, though. Nothing heavy. Let me see. I'll have the chocolate mousse. I simply can't resist it, you know. And the cassata ice cream. I guess that'll be all.
Come on. Order something substantial. I don't want you to starve.
Well, I told you I'm a poor eater. I'll have a proper meal when we meet next, I promise. As I was saying, leave the promotions to fans like us. We'll make sure the whole world looks up to you.
Thanks a lot.
Sure. Could you ask the bearer to bring me a cup of coffee after the dessert, please? It helps digest food.
Sure. Anything else?
Oh, no, I'm through.
You're such a poor eater, Rachel.
I know, but I can't change my habit, can I?
Of course not. Here's your little dessert.
Finally, I wish you'd avoid the high-calorie food that you seem to be eating. An actor like you can't afford to look unhealthy.
Thanks for the tip. I'll skip breakfast for the rest of the month to compensate for my eating binge today.
Good man.
Can I get you your bill, sir?
Yes, please.
I had a great time, Ravi. I think my flight has been called. Why don't you give me your mobile number? I'll call you whenever I'm free. We can meet in some restaurant and plan your career.
I'm afraid I lost my mobile phone yesterday. I'll call you the moment I get myself another phone.
That'll be great. Take my card. And please do call me. It's for your own good, you know.
I will. Have a good flight. I wish I weren't such a fool.
G. Listen to see if you were right.
1. Ravi, a struggling TV artist, was travelling to Delhi to participate in a theatre festival. 2. While he was waiting for his flight, a woman approached him and introduced herself as Rachel. 3. She described herself as a big fan of Ravi and suggested that they have a meal at the airport restaurant. 4. Although Ravi could not afford to take Rachel to an expensive restaurant, he was so flattered by her compliment that he decided to humour her. 5. Ravi thought that his guest would only have a light snack which wouldn't cost him much. 6. He was shocked to discover that the woman had a huge appetite. 7. Rachel ordered some of the most expensive dishes. 8. The cost of the meal blew a hole in Ravi's pocket. 9. To make matters worse, Rachel told poor Ravi that he was overeating. 10. His fame cost him nearly his whole month's earnings.
Page 25. A. Listen and repeat sentences 1 to 6.
1. I think I'll have the exotic mushroom soup.
2. I think I'll have just a cold drink.
3. I'll have your Thai chicken. 4. I'll have the chocolate mousse and the cassata ice cream. 5. I had a great time, Ravi.
6. Have a good flight.
Page 26. H. Listen to see if you were right.
1. Edward have severe headache yesterday.
Edward had a severe headache yesterday.
2. I have pizza for lunch last week.
I had a pizza for lunch last week.
3. My friend Gilang have salad for lunch yesterday.
My friend Guy Lang had salad for lunch yesterday.
4. Susan have her bath before going to bed every night.
Susan has her bath before going to bed every night.
5. Have pleasant journey.
Have a pleasant journey.
Page 27. A. Lakshman and Prakash are talking about a book on effective conversation skills. Listen to the conversation.
Thank you for giving me You Never Get a Second Chance to Make a First Impression as a gift, Prakash. I thoroughly enjoyed reading it.
I'm glad you liked the book. I didn't know if you liked non-fiction or not, so I just took a chance.
I prefer fiction, but this one was better than some of the novels I enjoyed reading. And what's more, it's very useful.
That's right. I was amazed to learn that our words carry only 20% of our communication when we first meet someone.
Me too. I didn't know that the clothes we wear often decide whether we belong to a group or not. I've decided to pay attention to my clothes. I'll only wear clothes that suit the group and the occasion.
Good idea. It's a good idea to communicate the message that we belong to a group and to a place by wearing the right clothes and by saying the right things.
We often complain that we tried to mingle at a party, but people ignored us. The book suggests that people cold shoulder us because we don't look and behave like them. We don't make an effort to place ourselves in their comfort zone.
That's absolutely true, isn't it?
Yes, the writer asks us to relax and smile in the company of a stranger. I'm not sure how you can smile naturally when you're with a stranger.
It isn't easy, but the author does give you a useful tip in the same section. He asks you to visualize a successful moment in your life. When you do that, you'll feel confident and you'll relax. Smiling won't be such a difficult thing once you feel relaxed, will it?
No. The author seems to think good eye contact is absolutely vital to effective communication.
That's true, isn't it? People trust those who look at them when they're talking.
I didn't quite understand the part where he says we should focus the conversation on the people we are talking to, not on ourselves.
The trick is to make people feel important. When they feel good about themselves, they'll value the person who gave them the experience.
That makes perfect sense, doesn't it? People avoid those who talk about themselves all the time.
That's right. The writer also tells you how to keep people talking. He asks us to use open-ended questions.
Questions like, where did you stay in Goa? How was the food there? How expensive was the accommodation? How were the beaches? How long did you stay at Panaji, etc.?
Yes, these questions give people the opportunity to talk. When you listen to them actively, they feel encouraged to talk to you.
He says a compliment is a good conversation starter. Are there other conversation openers?
I'm sure there are. You could ask someone about their recent experience, even show your concern about some unpleasant experience they have had. But you've to be careful not to upset or embarrass them.
Very true. I have a doubt here. What do you do when someone answers your questions in monosyllables? How do you get them to talk?
The book suggests an excellent technique, doesn't it? You need to prod them by repeating the words in their answers. Make these words sound like questions, and people will come around to talking more than they usually do.
The author also recommends expanding a short response by adding your views or experiences and then asking the other person for his or her opinion, doesn't he?
He does. He gives you a good example too. Where are you going this summer? Shillong. Shillong, it's cool in summer. I love the pine forests and waterfalls in Shillong. How about you?
Wow! You even remember the examples he gives. How wonderful!
I find the book quite irresistible.
I know. I'm going to read it one more time. Thanks once again for your wonderful gift.
Sure.
Page 28. A. Listen to these introductions.
1. Dr. Suresh, may I present Mr. Kumar?
2. I have great pleasure in introducing Mr. Karan, our guest of honor today.
3. This is my friend Ganesh, Miss Susan.
4. Mr. David, have you met my nephew Abdullah?
5. Rajesh, meet Kishan.
6. Ravi, Ritik.
7. Mrs. Rao, Mahesh Mahapatra.
B. Listen to these pairs of sentences and tick the right box.
1. Mr. Prasad, please meet Mrs. Menon. 2. Mr. Reddy, do you know Mr. Hedge?
3. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present Dr. Sudha Pandey. 4. Raghav, Suresh.
Pages 29 and 30. A. Listen and repeat sentences 1 to 3.
1. We have the delicious sweet and sour Thai chicken. 2. I'll recommend our wholesome grilled American blue cheese that melts in your mouth. 3. We also have our mind-blowing, crisp and yummy mutton extravaganza.
C. Listen to see if you were right.
1. This is an old Tibetan leather chair. 2. This is a lovely Italian crystal vase. 3. They have a nice, small, black, wooden tea table in the hall. 4. This statue is a beautiful old Venetian marble statue. 5. This is a nice pair of synthetic fiber sports shoes.
Page 31. B. Listen to the poem and practice saying it aloud.
Summer Sun by Robert Louis Stevenson. Great is the sun, and wide he goes, through empty heaven with repose, and in the blue and glowing days, more thick than rain, he showers his rays. Though closer still the blinds we pull, to keep the shady parlour cool, yet he will find a chink or two to slip his golden fingers through. The dusty attic spider-clad, he through the keyhole maketh glad, and through the broken edge of tiles into the laddered hayloft smiles. Meantime his golden face around he bears to all the garden ground, and sheds a warm and glittering look among the ivy's inmost nook. Above the hills, along the blue, round the bright air with footing true, to please the child, to paint the rose, the gardener of the world he goes.
Page 33. A. Listen carefully. The speaker is giving you some useful tips on making notes.
Taking notes from a lecture has many advantages. When you make notes, you are compelled to listen carefully to your teacher. When you're getting ready for a test or an examination, notes help you identify the important points in a lesson. You can then concentrate on these points. There is one more reason why you should learn to make notes. Your notes are easier to remember than the information in your textbooks. Your teachers usually give you many clues about the important points in their lectures. They write down the important points on the blackboard. They repeat the key points of a lesson. They show that a point is important by adding emphasis while presenting it. They also spend more time on these points. Often the tone of their voice and their gestures can tell you if a point is important or not. Most teachers use verbal signposts to highlight the key ideas or concepts. Examples of verbal signposts are: I want to discuss today. The first and the most important issue is. The second cause is. Finally, I come to. Examples of this are. Your notes should be very brief. Use your own sentences, but use your teacher's exact words to note down definitions, formulae, and specific facts. Avoid using sentences. Use meaningful phrases or words. Use abbreviations and symbols, but don't use the same abbreviation or symbol to represent different ideas. For example, you could use an arrow mark to refer to expressions like lead to or result in. Abbreviations like the following help you note down information accurately and retrieve it. DEF for definition, SP for specific, DES for description, REL for relative, etc. You could use an outline form to capture the structure of a lecture or a presentation. A numbering system is very useful in representing the relation between ideas. Indentation is another way of differentiating major points from minor ones.
Page 34. A. Listen. Someone is talking about fast food.
Fast food is any food that is quick, convenient, and usually inexpensive. One can buy fast food in just about any place that sells food and snacks. Supermarkets, petrol stations, roadside restaurants, and vending machines are the most common places to find fast food. It's so popular because for under 50 rupees, you can usually get a filling meal. However, fast food is inexpensive because it is usually made with cheaper ingredients such as high-fat meat, refined grains, and added sugar and fats instead of nutritious foodstuff. While it is true that fast food is usually high in fat, calories, cholesterol, and sodium, eating fast food every once in a while is not going to cause someone any problems. However, eating too much fast food over a long period of time can lead to health problems such as high blood pressure, heart disease, and obesity.
Page 35. A. How to begin a speech and introduce a topic. Listen and repeat these sentences.
Beginning a speech.
1. Distinguished guests, our beloved teachers, my fellow students, a very good morning to you. I'm Sharat Kumar, a student of RR School, Bangalore. 2. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let me introduce myself. 3. Good afternoon, friends. I consider it a great privilege to speak to an audience like you. Let me begin with a brief self-introduction.
Introducing a topic.
1. I am here to talk about the importance of education. 2. I deem it a privilege to be asked to speak about education and the Internet. 3. I have been asked to speak about an important topic, virtual learning. 4. Today, I'm going to talk to you about globalization.
Presenting the overview.
1. My talk today consists of 2 parts. Two. I have divided my speech into 2 parts. 3. I am going to discuss 3 points.
Page 38. B. Listen to the text and repeat the sentences. Try to follow the way the speaker's voice goes up and down.
Once, a famous philosopher was travelling through Mullah Nasruddin's village. He was hungry and he wanted to find a good place to eat. Nasruddin happened to be walking along the street, and the philosopher asked Nasruddin if he knew of a good restaurant in the village. Nasruddin recommended a place, and the philosopher, eager for company, invited Mullah Nasruddin to join him. Mullah Nasruddin readily accepted the invitation and accompanied the philosopher to a nearby restaurant. At the restaurant, they asked the waiter about the special of the day. "Fried fish," replied the waiter. "Bring us 2, the philosopher ordered. A few minutes later, the waiter brought them a large platter with 2 cooked fish on it. One of the fish was much smaller than the other. Without any hesitation, Nasruddin took the larger of the 2 fish and put it on his plate. The philosopher was shocked by Nasruddin's uncivilized behavior. He began to give Nasruddin a long lecture on etiquette, hospitality, and human decency. He rebuked Nasruddin for his selfish gesture of helping himself to the larger of the 2 fish. Mullah Nasruddin calmly waited for the philosopher to finish his lecture. When the exhausted philosopher finally stopped talking, Mullah Nasruddin asked him, "Pardon me, sir, but what would you have done?" The philosopher was very glad at the opportunity to further drive home his point. "As you can make out, I'm a decent man, and so I would have taken the smaller fish for myself and left the other one for you." "That's exactly what I've done, and here you are," Mullah Nasruddin said, and placed the smaller fish on the philosopher's plate.
Page 39. A. Listen to these sentences. They can be spoken in 2 different ways.
1. He came to school on Friday. He came to school on Friday. 2. He walked to school yesterday. He walked to school yesterday. 3. What would you do if you missed an important lesson? What would you do if you missed an important lesson?
B. Listen and repeat these sentences. Does the speaker lay emphasis on the last content word of the sentence or some other word? Tick the right box.
1. What is your position on this issue? 2. I don't think it is such a good idea. 3. Rajesh is Damodar's son. 4. Krish wants to meet you. 5. Sushil is my classmate.
Page 40. A. Stating facts and opinions in a speech. Listen and repeat these sentences.
Stating facts.
1. Let's examine what carbon footprint means. Two. First, we must define what we mean by active listening. 3. It is generally believed that children who watch a lot of television tend to be obese. 4. Most people think that sports and education don't go together. 5. The first question we have to answer is if nuclear power is a viable option. Six. Let's start by weighing the pros and cons of the new evaluation scheme.
Stating opinions.
1. Doing away with examinations in the lower classes is not a very good idea. 2. Even Sachin Tendulkar, the greatest batsman ever, had to cope with failure. 3. I am convinced that strikes are generally organized by lazy, unproductive workers. 4. Yoga is the only comprehensive solution for all health issues.
Page 41. B. Listen to these sentences and tick the right box.
1. Simon is a very attractive young man. 2. Continuous assessment is a better way of assessing students. 3. Riding a motorbike is more fun than driving a car. 4. Email is a faster means of communication than conventional mail. 5. The tiger is an endangered species.
Page 42. A. Listen and repeat these pairs of sentences.
1. There are several fishing boats on the river. There were hardly any fish in the river. 2. There are just a handful of people in the cinema hall. I met my old friend Rakesh at the cinema. 3. My cousin Rohit lives in a small town. My uncle Rajan lives on an island. 4. The bookshelf is in the corner of the drawing room. The bookstore is at the corner of the street. 5. The flower vase is on the top of the shelf. The reference is at the top of the page.
Page 44. A. Listen to the play A Beautiful Day and look at the pictures.
What a hot and sultry day. Let's walk to the ice cream parlour at the end of the street and gorge on their yummy ice creams.
I don't think it's such a good idea, Dinaz. It's just too hot to walk on the street.
Come on, Rohini. Don't be a spoilsport. The parlour is just a couple of blocks away.
I hope the shop isn't closed today.
Here you go again. If they are closed on a hot summer day like this, they'll have to shut up shop soon.
I do hope the ice creams they sell are worth the walk.
They are. Now, if you'll stop cribbing, we can move to the parlour and enjoy some of their mind-blowing ice creams.
Whatever.
Boy, do you walk fast? I'm literally running to keep pace with you.
Serves you right. Look at that poor elderly woman. She's struggling to walk.
The poor thing is carrying a huge shopping bag. It must be weighing a ton. Look how she's dragging it along.
She looks totally exhausted. I hope she doesn't collapse on the street.
Why is she wearing such heavy makeup? Such a poor choice of clothing too. And she has dyed her hair orange.
Oh no, she has dropped the bag. The stuff is scattered all over the road.
Let's walk fast. The woman looks strange to me.
She needs help. Let me help her put the groceries back into the bag. I won't be long.
Are you out of your mind, Rohini? She doesn't need your help.
Give me a minute. I'll be right back.
Rohini, I don't believe this.
Let me give you a hand with those packets, ma'am.
Go away. I don't need your help.
Allow me to hold the bag. You can put the packets into the bag faster if I do that.
I don't want anyone's help.
I'm not doing you a huge favor. Please let me hold the bag.
Well, all right.
That's it. We're almost done. Would you like me to carry the bag for you?
Thanks. But no, I think I'll manage. My house is just around the corner. God bless you, my child.
Take care.
There you are. What took you so long? Were you getting some beauty tips from her?
No, but I learned how to beautify my soul. Oh, it's such a lovely day. Thank you for forcing me to go out with you, Dinaz.
I think the heat has driven her crazy.
Page 45. A. How to enumerate your points and add emphasis. Listen and repeat these sentences.
Enumerating.
1. Let me begin by giving you some interesting information about the Internet. Two. First of all, I would like to present to you certain misconceptions about HIV. 3. Next, I want to discuss the role of students in building a corruption-free society. 4. My third point is related to the problems of implementation. 5. I will now move to my next point. 6. Finally, I want to draw your attention to some newspaper reports.
Adding emphasis.
1. Above all, young people have the energy required to run the affairs of a country. 2. This consists mainly of two parts: income from agriculture and the service industry. 3. Concrete buildings, building with a lot of glass in particular, radiate heat.
4. It is the plastic waste that hurts the environment the most.
Five. What we need to focus on is the spending habit of middle-class Indians. Six. The growing instances of violence against women are what worries one.
Page 47. A. Listen and repeat these sentences.
1. We reached home early yesterday. We went to my uncle's home yesterday.
2. They arrived in Delhi on Friday. They arrived at the airport just before their flight was called.
3. Sheetal got into the car in a tearing hurry. Raghav got on the bus at Triplicane.
4. When we got out of the car, it was miserably cold. We got off the train and moved towards the taxi stand.
5. Shashi goes home on foot every day. On Sundays, Shashi goes to the market by bicycle.
Page 49. B. Listen to the poem from The Great Tablecloth by Pablo Neruda and practice saying it aloud.
The Great Tablecloth by Pablo Neruda. Eating alone is a disappointment, but not eating matters more, is hollow and green, has thorns like a child of fishhooks trailing from the heart, clawing at your insides. Hunger feels like pincers, like the bite of crabs. It burns and has no fire. Hunger is a cold fire. Let us sit down to eat with all those who haven't eaten. Let us spread great tablecloths, put salt in the lakes of the world, set up planetary bakeries, tables with strawberries and snow, and a plate like the moon itself, from which we can all eat. For now I ask no more than the justice of eating.
Page 50. A. How to exemplify and define an idea or concept. Listen and repeat these sentences.
Exemplifying.
1. For example, subjects like geography will be more interesting when we watch videos of different countries and their people. 2. For instance, villagers in some parts of Rajasthan walk more than 10 kilometers to fetch a pot of drinking water. 3. As an illustration, let us look at a school in North Tamil Nadu. 4. 4 herbs, namely thyme, rosemary, sage, and parsley, figure in most English recipes. 5. There are other causes for the outbreak of diseases in rural India, such as poor ventilation, unhygienic habits, and lack of awareness about diseases.
Defining an idea or concept.
1. We can define dyslexia as a reading difficulty. 2. The term metabolism means the constant breaking down of substances in the body for release of energy or for the growth of the body. 3. We can state migration as the seasonal movement of birds from one part of the world to another. 4. When we use the word burning in computing, we mean the process of copying something from the hard disk to a CD. 5. We refer to good manners as etiquette.
Page 52. A. Listen and repeat these sentences.
1. India has always stood for non-violence. 2. Our school has never encouraged unhealthy competition. 3. He hasn't performed well at work lately. 4. They have worked hard to make the event a big success. 5. Ritu has just completed her MBA. She is looking for a suitable job. 6. They have not completed the work yet. 7. Ramesh has been waiting for his call letter over a month. 8. It has been working well so far.
'C'. Listen to see if you were right.
1. India has always had good relations with its neighbors. 2. Renu hasn't been feeling too well recently. 3. Vinod has been standing in queue for the past 2 hours. 4. The train has not arrived yet. 5. My parents have never interfered with my career plans.
Page 54. B. Listen to the first part of the story.
Letters of Gold. Mohan walked briskly along the dry riverbed towards the sleepy little village, the summer sun scorching his back. His shirt was drenched in sweat, but the thought of the loot waiting for him at one of those village houses kept his spirits up. The only access to this pot of gold was a cattle track. Mahesh's old car would have given up the ghost after the first country mile. It all happened when Paresh visited Mohan for his usual weekend chat. Paresh was doing his research on graphology, the study of handwriting. He had stopped over at Mohan's place on his way home from the university library. Mohan was flipping through Paresh's file when suddenly something in the file caught his eye. Tucked in the transparent pouch was an old dog-eared envelope, yellow with years, the handwriting on it barely legible. What got Mohan's instant attention was the black and white stamp on the top corner of the envelope, partly disfigured by the crude postmark. As someone well informed and aware of stamps, Mohan was quick to spot the penny black, the first ever postage stamp issued in 1840. A stamp collector's delight, the penny black was worth at least £50,000. Barely managing to hide his excitement, Mohan put on a joking tone and asked Paresh where he got such an ancient envelope. Paresh said it came from his uncle's house. His uncle lived in a remote village in Salem district. He had gone there a few days ago to attend his cousin's wedding. Inspired by his uncle's passionate description of his great-grandfather, Paresh decided to study the great man's handwriting. He wanted to see if the major traits of his handwriting gave any clues about the character of the man. His uncle adored the man, who he said had spent the best part of his life in Britain and Europe. It took some persuading to get his uncle to part with the envelope and the letter it contained. Trying to sound casual, Mohan gathered all the necessary information about Paresh's uncle and the village he lived in. He was quite certain that there would be more such envelopes with priceless stamps. He also knew that getting Paresh's ignorant relatives to part with the envelopes would be child's play for a city-bred like himself. A couple of those rare stamps would open the doors to a life of everlasting luxury.
C. Listen to the next part of the story and look at the pictures.
As he approached the village, his strides lengthened. His heart slammed against his ribs. When he saw the tiled blue and white house that Paresh had described to him in some detail, his mouth turned dry. The door of the humble abode was wide open. He could see the massive rosewood swing right in the middle of the room. He stood near the doorway and called out. An elderly woman in a green cotton sari came out of what seemed like the kitchen. He told her that he was a friend of Paresh's and he was doing research on ancient temples. He had heard of a temple in the village dedicated to Lord Shiva and had come to study the architecture of the temple. The friendly woman asked him to be seated, went in and returned with a glass of fresh buttermilk. Soon, Paresh's uncle, who had gone out to attend to the work in the fields, returned, and Mohan was led to a small house. Paresh's uncle left Mohan, promising that he would send Mohan's dinner around 7. Mohan was grateful to be left alone. He rolled out the ground sheet, stretched himself out, and was fast asleep within a few minutes. The next 2 days were rather hectic for Mohan. He had to spend the best part of the day near the temple he was supposedly studying. The evenings were spent listening to Paresh's uncle's never-ending chatter. He took turns whining about his miserable existence in the village and bragging about his great ancestors. Mohan had to put up an appearance of a keen listener, which took a lot of effort. The opportunity Mohan was eagerly waiting for finally presented itself towards the fag end of the second evening. The old man was taking an eternity to introduce the family tree to his hapless listener. Finally, he started talking about his great-grandfather, a great man who had the good fortune of living in the Britain of Queen Victoria. Mohan casually asked if there was any correspondence between his great-grandfather and his son, the old man's grandfather. Much to his surprise, his host ran into another part of the house like an excited 5-year-old. Soon he brought out a bunch of old envelopes. He spread them out on the swing and began a detailed narrative about the adventures of his great-grandfather. Mohan was hardly listening to the old man. What he saw on those old tattered envelopes made his jaw drop. You could have knocked him down with a feather. Affixed on those ugly envelopes were a Triskilling yellow, a blue penny, a basil dove, and a British Guiana 1-cent magenta. Some of the rarest and most expensive stamps in the world. The old man rambled on about the greatness of his great-grandfather, what a learned man he was, how widely travelled a person he was, how fond he was of his son, how well written his letters were. Mohan nodded politely and made appropriate noises to give the impression that he was intently listening to the old man's story. All the while, his mind was busy working out a foolproof plan to get the old man to gift him the envelopes.
Page 55. D. Now listen to the last part of the story and look at the pictures.
He was still busy thinking up plans to get possession of the envelopes when the old woman came out of the kitchen. She scolded the old man for making the poor guest's life miserable with his empty boasting. When the old man tried to shoo her away, she warned him that she would destroy those letters some day. That would spare someone the agony of listening to the old man. The old man got up and left the house in a huff, muttering something to himself. "Why don't you give the letters to me?" Mohan asked the old woman, trying his best to make his suggestions sound like a big joke. "I will take them with me to the city and keep them safely away from your husband." To his utter surprise, the old woman, who was bending over the envelopes that lay scattered on the swing, rose with sudden enthusiasm. Without any hesitation, she walked purposefully towards Mohan and thrust the bunch of envelopes into his hands. At first, Mohan thought he would take the envelopes and run away from the village as fast as his legs could carry him. But he quickly decided against it. If he readily accepted the gift, the old woman might grow suspicious. He might not be able to get away with his treasure without arousing suspicion. It should look like a secret between him and the old woman. That way, the old man would not miss the letters until the next unfortunate guest visited his house, which might take months. "I was only trying to help you get rid of those letters," he told her, "and I thought you would want to consult your husband before giving them away." A look of utter disgust came over the woman's face. She snatched the envelopes from his hand and disappeared into the kitchen. Mohan was thinking of casually strolling into the kitchen to give the impression that he was only interested in doing her a favor by accepting the bunch of envelopes. When he was about to get up and walk towards the kitchen, the old woman emerged from the kitchen. She had pure relief written all over her face. "I have burnt the whole lot of those horrible letters and envelopes," she said. "Reduced them to cinders. My husband can't torture our guests any longer," she announced triumphantly.
Page 56. A. Listen and repeat these sentences.
1. This shirt looks good. 2. These noodles taste wonderful. 3. Radish smells awful when it is cooking. 4. The new shirt is very comfortable. It feels very soft. 5. He appeared very excited today. 6. Rap music sounds terrible. 7. The room looks big after the furniture is removed.
B. Listen to these sentences and tick the right box.
1. The pizza tastes strangely. 2. The tomatoes smell rottenly. 3. When she is tired, she walks slowly. 4. He looked happily when I told him he had got a raise. 5. The seat of my new bicycle feels hardly.
Page 57. A. How to indicate digressions and how to summarize. Listen and repeat these sentences.
Digressing, deviation or straying from the main point.
1. By the way, most of us mispronounce his name. 2. Incidentally, this was his first ever novel. 3. Speaking of which, how many of you enjoy watching a documentary? 4. By way of digression, let me narrate an interesting anecdote. 5. On a side note, she was the first recipient of the Budding Writers Award.
Summarizing.
1. To sum up, a healthy lifestyle can help fight off most diseases. 2. On the whole, the film gives the viewers good value for money. 3. All things considered, online learning is a poor substitute for learning in a classroom. 4. In conclusion, I would like to emphasize that environment-friendly lifestyle is the only solution to the threat the world is facing.
Page 58. A. Listen to the conversation. Manmeet and Nagender are talking to their teacher about what one should do to overcome their fear of public speaking.
I'm very nervous about tomorrow. Last week, in our social studies class, our teacher asked me if I'd like to give a talk on traffic rules on Road Safety Day. I don't know what came over me. I said yes without any hesitation.
Poor Manmeet. I had a narrow escape. Our class teacher wanted to include my name in the list of speakers, but I managed to talk her out of it. Speaking in public, the very thought frightens me.
That's not the right attitude, young man. Public speaking is an opportunity you should never miss. When you face the challenge of speaking in public, you'll get the confidence you need to be an effective communicator.
But Miss Nisha, it isn't a pleasant experience. My knees go weak when I stand in front of an audience, even if it is a small group.
You aren't the first or the only one to feel nervous, Manmeet. Most people dread speaking in public, but if you overcome the fear of public speech, you'll start enjoying it. It will work wonders for your personality.
I don't think I'll be able to train myself to enjoy such an unpleasant experience. I tremble at the very idea of public speech. I feel insecure standing in front of so many people, their eyes boring into me. I can't remember my own name.
Look, young man, I am not saying that public speaking comes naturally to everyone. All I'm saying is public speaking is not a nightmarish experience. It certainly is an uncomfortable experience to begin with, but if you learn to see it as an opportunity rather than a threat, you'll begin to enjoy it.
But don't you think getting over your fear of public speaking is easier said than done, Miss Nisha?
I agree. Even a seasoned public speaker is a little tensed when he or she is about to address a large gathering. But they keep that tension under control. More importantly, they put the tension into good use.
How do you manage that?
Well, they prepare well and practice hard. When you prepare well for your talk and practice delivering your speech, you can visualize yourself giving an impressive speech. Your confidence level goes up when you can see yourself giving that speech without messing it up.
That's a good tip. I think I'll spend some time to prepare my speech. I'll also practice my speech in front of the mirror.
I'm glad to hear that. Do ask Naginder to listen to your speech. You'll give him constructive feedback, won't you, Naginder?
I will. But Ms. Nisha, please tell me how to get over my fear of the audience. Someone said it would help if I convinced myself that my audience is a bunch of fools. Is it true?
Not really. I'd rather you regarded them as your friends.
But they look so threatening. How can I consider them my friends when I know they're waiting to laugh at me?
Your audience isn't waiting to see you goof up. It is your own negative thoughts. Here is what I do to feel confident. When I begin my speech, I scan the audience. I focus on those people who seem interested in what I'm about to say. For the first few minutes of my talk, I only look at them. Once I get over my initial nervousness, I start looking at the different sections of the audience.
That sounds great. I'll try it the next time I get a chance to speak in public.
How wonderful! You sound confident already.
We're glad we discussed our problems with you, Miss Nisha. Any other hot tip for us?
Well, there's one last thing. You feel nervous about speaking in public largely because you tell yourself you're going to fail and people will make fun of you. That's called a negative pep talk. I'd advise you to give yourself a positive pep talk before you walk towards the podium. Take a deep breath and tell yourself, I'm going to deliver an effective speech. That'll work wonders for your morale.
Thank you for your advice. If we become good public speakers someday, we know who to thank for our achievement.
Wow! Well done, Naginder. Why didn't I think of saying this to our dear teacher?
That was very kind of you. Good luck, Manmeet. I'm sure you'll deliver a memorable speech.
Thank you.
Page 60. B. Listen to see if you were right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Reema, student of IRM Public School, Chennai. I consider it a privilege to speak to you about effective plastic waste management. I have divided my talk into 3 parts: definition of plastic waste, consequences of poor plastic waste disposal, and suggestions for better plastic waste management. First of all, what is plastic waste? Plastic is versatile, lightweight, flexible, moisture resistant, strong, and relatively inexpensive. These qualities make plastic goods very attractive to consumers across the world. Plastic materials used in the production of so many products become waste, and as plastic is slow to degrade, discarded plastic materials litter and thus pollute the environment. I would now like to deal with one of the most well-known examples of plastic waste, namely discarded polythene bags, to highlight the seriousness of the problem. This is a plastic product we are familiar with. Polythene shopping bags are used in many countries because they are cheap and easy to use. Polythene bags were introduced in India nearly 4 decades ago, and it quickly replaced the jute or cotton shopping bag that was traditionally in use in Indian households. A recent study reveals that in most Indian cities, an average household uses 4 poly bags a day. Every day, the residents of the major cities in India dispose of about 50 million polythene bags. These disposed of bags clog the drains of these cities, litter the landscape, and even find their way into the stomach of hapless cows and buffaloes. Above all, they pose a new environmental threat to the cities that are already suffering from high levels of air pollution and other environmental issues. Page 61. A. Listen and repeat these sentences.
1. He found some cold, moist, red plums in the refrigerator.
In the refrigerator, he found some plums that were cold, moist, and red.
2. The door opened into a cold, damp, dark, dilapidated room.
The door opened into a room that was cold, damp, dark, and dilapidated.
3. It was a hot, dry April afternoon.
It was an April afternoon that was hot and dry.
4. Snoopy, our 9-month-old Pomeranian, has a cold, wet, black snout.
Snoopy, our 9-month-old Pomeranian, has a snout that is cold, wet, and black.
63 and 64. A. Listen and fill the missing blanks in the recipe. Making chapati, Indian bread. Combine 2 cups of whole wheat flour and half a tablespoon of salt in a large mixing bowl. Add just enough cold water to the flour to allow it to come together into dough. The mix should be sticky, not pasty. Mix the water in the flour as you gather the flour together to make moist dough. Knead well, folding and pushing until the dough is soft. Cover the dough with a damp paper towel and let it rest for 30 minutes. When you're ready to start making the chapatis, warm up a cast iron skillet on medium heat. Knead the dough again for several minutes. Then tear off enough dough and divide it into walnut-sized balls. Roll out each ball of the dough evenly to a thin circular shape on a floured rolling board. Place each chapati on the very lightly oiled skillet. Then small white bubbles will appear on the chapati. Using a spatula, flip to the other side. Let it cook for about 1 or 2 minutes. When cooked, it will look brown and be dry but flexible. Remove the chapati from the skillet and with a pair of metal tongs, place it over a low direct gas flame. The chapati will puff up into a ball almost immediately. Remove from heat and serve. Page 66. B. Listen to the poem and try to read it the way the reader recited it.
The Rainy Day by Rabindranath Tagore. Sullen clouds are gathering fast over the black fringe of the forest. O child, do not go out. The palm trees in a row by the lake are smiting their heads against the dismal sky. The crows with their dragged wings are silent on the tamarind branches, and the eastern bank of the river is haunted by a deepening gloom. Our cow is lowing loud, dies at the fence. O child, wait here till I bring her into the stall. Men have crowded into the flooded field to catch the fishes as they escape from the overflowing ponds. The rain water is running in rills through the narrow lanes like a laughing boy who has run away from his mother to tease her. Listen, someone is shouting for the boatman at the ford. O child, the daylight is dim, and the crossing at the ferry is closed. The sky seems to ride fast upon the madly rushing rain. The water in the river is loud and impatient. Women have hastened home, early from the Ganges with their filled pitchers. The evening lamps must be made ready. O child, do not go out. The road to the market is desolate. The lane to the river is slippery. The wind is roaring and struggling among the bamboo branches like a wild beast tangled in a net.
Page 67. Vindhya wants to open an account with the KBC Bank. She's at the bank and she's talking to the staff. A. Listen to the conversation and fill the missing information in the flowchart. Excuse me, I'd like to open a savings bank account with your bank. Could you please help me?
Certainly. May I know your name?
Vindhya.
Welcome to KBC Bank, Vindhya. I'm Soumya. Opening an account with us is a very simple affair. Here is the application form. Please fill in the details. You have to attach 2 documents with the form, one as proof of your identity and the other as proof of your address.
Will my unique identity card do? It's issued by the Government of India.
Absolutely. It has your present address, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Good. Attach a photocopy of the card. Do you know anyone who has an account with us?
My cousin Raghav has an SB account.
Wonderful. Please ask him to introduce you to the bank. Ask him to fill in the details on page 3.
Anything else?
You need 2 recent passport-size color photographs. Paste one on the application form right here. Staple the other photograph on the application form.
Is that all?
Yes. Submit the filled-in application form at the 3rd counter from here. Our colleague there will check to see if your application is in order. She will give you your account number. You will have to deposit some money into that account using a pay-in slip. The minimum balance in a savings bank account is Rs 1,000. You can deposit the amount at the teller counter. When you submit the counterfoil, the person who accepted your application form will give you your passbook. From that moment, you will become our valuable customer.
Thank you for your help.
Anytime.
Page 69. B. Listen to see if you were right.
1. Go to a ticket reservation center. 2. On the passenger-operated inquiry terminal, locate the train that suits your travel plan. 3. Check seat availability. 4. Fill in the ticket booking form. 5. Submit the form at the ticket booking counter. 6. Pay the fare. 7. Collect your ticket.
Page 70. Shambhu is going on a trip to Mumbai with his friends. He's at the head office of SK Travels to book their tickets for the trip. A. Listen to the conversation between Shambhu and the staff of SK Travels.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. I'm Shambhu Nath. I'd like to meet your general manager.
Do you have an appointment?
I don't.
What's this regarding, if I may ask?
I'm organizing a trip to Mumbai and I'm interested in availing your company's services.
Excellent idea, sir. Please give me a moment. I'll find out if our general manager is free to meet you. He'll see you now, sir.
Thank you.
Welcome to SK Travels, Mr. Nath. I'm Brijesh Kumar. Please have a seat.
Thank you.
I understand you're organizing a tour. Could you tell me where you're planning to take your group?
We're going to Mumbai. It's a week-long tour.
Good idea. This is the right season for a pleasure trip to Mumbai. May I know what your requirements are?
4.
Would it be our luxury coach or our deluxe coach? Our luxury coach is air-conditioned with sleeper seats.
We want the best that you can offer.
Great. What is your travel itinerary?
We start on the 15th of this month. We would like to be back in Chennai on the 23rd.
In all 9 days. We offer competitive rates for customers like you. Our marketing manager will give you all the information you need. He'll be here in a moment. Here he is. Suresh, meet Mr. Nath, our esteemed customer. Please take Mr. Nath to your room and discuss the details. It's a pleasure meeting you, Mr. Nath. Here's my business card. If you have any queries, please call me.
Thank you.
Please come with me, Mr. Nath.
Thanks.
If you'll be kind enough to give me some details, I'll raise the invoice. Shall I make it for 20% of the total amount? I hope you'll be able to issue the check now.
I believe in cash payments.
Really?
What's the total amount?
Let me see. It comes to 2.5. We offer customers like you a special 10% discount, so it'll be 2.25.
That's quite reasonable. Let me pay the whole amount. We can then rest assured that our travel arrangements have been made.
That's really nice of you. I didn't expect you to carry such a big sum of money with you. If you'd come with me to our cash section, I'll arrange to get you the receipt. I'd have asked the cashier to come here, but the man can't function without his currency counting machine.
That's no problem at all.
Madan, please help Mr. Nath with the payment.
Sure.
Thank you for choosing SK Travels, Mr. Nath. I have to meet another client at 11. I'll make sure we meet all your requirements.
Thank you.
Could I have the money, Mr. Nath?
Sure. Here it is.
That's 2,500 rupees.
That's right.
But you promised to pay the entire sum.
That's the entire sum, isn't it? I've given you 250 rupees more.
Is it some kind of a joke, Mr. Nath? Your bill amount is 2,25,000 rupees.
What? 2 lakh rupees for 4 seats on your luxury bus?
4 seats? Aren't you interested in hiring 4 of our luxury coaches?
4 luxury coaches? Whoever said that?
Mr. Nath, please go to our ticket booking counter to make your booking. This is our head office. Here we only take care of big deals.
I'll do that. Have a nice day.
Page 71. B. Listen to these sentences and tick the right box.
1. By visiting the head office of SK Travels and by asking to meet the general manager, Shambhu gives the impression that his visit is about a big business deal. 2. Shambhu clearly spells out his requirements to the general manager. 3. Even when the marketing manager talks about raising the invoice and comments on Shambhu carrying such a lot of money, Shambhu doesn't realize that he has unknowingly communicated the wrong message to the staff at SK Travels. 4. In their anxiety to land the big deal, they mistook Shambhu for a big client. The general manager and the marketing manager forgot to ask Shambhu a few basic details about his company, the size of the group, and the budget for the trip. 5. Expressions like 2.5, 2.25, and raise the invoice that the marketing manager uses are part of the specialized language of his trade. The meaning of these expressions is often not clear to those not connected with the trade.
Page 72. A. Group discussion. Listen and repeat these sentences.
Asking for opinion.
1. What do you think about the plan to have a short winter break? 2. How about working on a few Sundays? 3. I'd like to ask you to react to my proposal.
Asking for clarification.
1. I'm afraid I didn't get the last point. 2. I missed the last part of your statement. 3. Could you please explain what you mean by selective coverage? 4. Could you go over that again?
Expressing opinion.
1. I strongly feel that we should reduce the number of physical education periods to 10. 2. I am of the view that the timetable we are following is well balanced. 3. In my view, we have allotted too many hours for mathematics and science. 4.
Explaining.
The main reason for the shortfall in teaching hours is the large number of holidays. 2. We can't introduce too many co-curricular activities because continuous assessment requires a lot of classroom time. 3. There is another reason for starting early. Students feel fresh and learn better early in the day.
Page 73.
Interrupting. While interrupting someone, remember that you have to sound polite and you should be careful not to use any offensive gesture.
1. May I say something here? 2. May I come in here? 3. I'm sorry to interrupt, but haven't we discussed this already?
Page 74. Professor Arya is giving a talk on gestures for effective communication. A. Listen to the talk.
To sum up the first part of my talk, positive body language can help establish an atmosphere that is favorable for communication. We have seen how raising your eyebrows, nodding your head, and tilting your head to the side, leaning forward, and maintaining eye contact with the speaker communicate the listener's interest and involvement in the topic. It is not enough to know what we should do to aid communication. It is equally important to identify and avoid things that interrupt the flow of communication. I would like to spend the next few minutes on negative postures and gestures. They are called negative because they seriously interfere with communication. First, let us discuss posture. If forward lean suggests interest, leaning away from the speaker, sluggish posture, propping up head with hands, and sitting with eyes fixed on the floor show lack of interest. Hands rested behind the head suggest superiority, just like the steeple. The fingers of one hand lightly pressed against those of the other hand to form a church steeple communicates authority. Sitting on the edge of the chair and shifting weight from foot to foot both indicate discomfort. Slouching shoulders is a sure sign of low self-esteem, and standing with an object like a newspaper or even a coffee mug constantly held in front of the body suggests shyness and nervousness. At the other extreme, sitting with arms crossed suggests resistance. Moving on to negative gestures, checking the watch or inspecting fingernails is one of the most irritating gestures. The only other thing that is more harmful for the speaker is the listener yawning to his face. Narrowing eyes sends the message that the listener doesn't like the speaker or the speaker's ideas. Scratching at the back of the head or neck communicates doubt, while stroking the chin tells the speaker he is being judged by the listener. Fidgeting with objects suggests anxiety, just as blinking fast indicates nervousness. Hands clenched in a raised position shows frustration. Gestures like pointing a finger at someone and thumping the table are considered to be aggressive gestures. These should be avoided as they can create a major barrier to communication. An important part of human communication is non-verbal communication. Eye contact, facial expressions, tone of voice, posture and gesture, touch, timing, and space all contribute to effective communication. Right communication strategies and appropriate expressions alone may not ensure effective communication. These have to be supplemented with suitable non-verbal communication cues to ensure the desired effect on the audience. Without suitable non-verbal cues, a piece of communication may be ineffective, even confusing.
Page 76. A. Communicating negative news. Listen and repeat these sentences.
1. I'm sorry to have to tell you this, but you're always making negative comments about my hairstyle. 2. I'm afraid I have some bad news for you. You have not been selected for the school play. 3. You're being rude, if you don't mind my saying so. 4. That's not a very nice thing to say about your classmate. 5. Your message wasn't clear to many of us, if you'll pardon my saying this.
B. Listen and tick the right boxes.
1. You're always borrowing things from others. 2. You look awful today. 3. That's a nasty thing to say. 4. I don't think it concerns you, if you don't mind my saying so. 5. I'm sorry to have to tell you this, but your tuition fee is long overdue.
Page 77. C. Listen to these pairs of sentences and tick the sentences that communicate negative news sensitively.
1. Do you know that your company is planning to lay off 500 employees?
I don't want to scare you, but there's something you need to know. Your company is planning to lay off about 500 employees.
2. I don't like you hanging around here all the time.
I enjoy your company, but there are times when I'd rather be by myself.
3. I'm going to inform the principal about this.
I'm sorry this is making you so upset. I do hope you'll understand why I have to inform the principal about this.
4. Could we please maintain silence for some time, as I am trying to concentrate on this text?
Can you stop making that noise for some time?
5. We won't need your services anymore.
Though we enjoyed working with you, I'm afraid we will have to part, as our current project is coming to an end very soon.
Page 77. C. Listen to these pairs of sentences and tick the sentences that communicate negative news sensitively.
1. Do you know that your company is planning to lay off 500 employees?
I don't want to scare you, but there's something you need to know. Your company is planning to lay off about 500 employees.
2. I don't like you hanging around here all the time.
I enjoy your company, but there are times when I'd rather be by myself.
3. I'm going to inform the principal about this.
I'm sorry this is making you so upset. I do hope you'll understand why I have to inform the principal about this.
4. Could we please maintain silence for some time as I am trying to concentrate on this text?
Can you stop making that noise for some time?
5. We won't need your services anymore.
Though we enjoyed working with you, I'm afraid we will have to part as our current project is coming to an end very soon.
Page 78. B. Listen to the poem and practice saying it aloud.
Break, Break, Break by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Break, break, break on thy cold grey stones, O sea, and I would that my tongue could utter the thoughts that arise in me. Oh, well for the fisherman's boy that he shouts for his sister at play. Oh, well for the sailor lad that he sings in his boat on the bay. And the stately ships go on to their haven under the hill. But, oh, for the touch of a vanished hand and the sound of a voice that is still. Break, break, break at the foot of thy crags, O sea, but the tender grace of a day that is dead will never come back to me.
Congratulations! You have just completed your work at the 10th level. Good luck!